Well, thanks again, Shauna, for doing this. This is a great opportunity for sure to get the information out there from far and wide, right? I mean, I wouldn't have this opportunity without all your hard work. So I wanted to thank you first, first and foremost.
Yeah.
I'll just talk a little bit about Voxxlife. Have you heard of Voxxlife before this? Anybody? No. Okay. It is a fairly new company. It is a Canadian company from Ontario. And actually what he is devoted to is drug-free wellness, optimal health, and improving human performance. So the company actually develops very innovative wearable neurotechnology products that allow people of all walks of life to enjoy an improved quality of life. They've dubbed this technology human performance technology, or HPT. It's actually proprietary, it's exclusive, and it has been scientifically proven in independent testing. It's been proven to reduce pain, increase strength and endurance, increase stability, improve balance, give you more energy, increase reaction times, just to name a few things that they've actually been proven to do. I'm just going to take a little bit of a step back right now and just tell you a little bit about the history of Voxxlife. It actually all started with a young boy at the age of 13 who came home one day to find his mom not feeling well. 18 months later, after she was diagnosed with MS and wheelchair bound, Jay Dollywall, the CEO and founder, actually devoted his life to helping his mom basically and trying and doing everything that he could. I'm going to fast forward a couple of decades now. He did go on to graduate as a computer engineer. He had a very, very successful career in computer engineering, worked with many of the top-notch companies down in Silicon Valley. And then one day he was presented with some information on TMJ, which is like lockjaw, and oral orthotics from a dentist, and how the oral orthotic excuse me, was affecting the trigeminal nerves in the face, which was also helping wearers improve their balance. This was the start of something big for Jay. So he put his computer engineering career on hold, spent the next 6 years of his life reviewing and studying decades of research conducted in brainstem functionality and the peripheral nervous system. And after all that 6 years of research and R&D, he's come up with the Voxxlife human performance technology. Now, you're probably wondering how it all works, right? Well, what he's developed is a very specific sequence that's actually stitched in the socks and embedded in the insole, just like she's wearing there. It's this little pattern in the sock, and then that pattern, you've got the blue insole, but right here. So what that does, it triggers a very, very specific pattern in your of neural points in the bottom of your feet, which sends messages to your brain. And once your brain processes these messages, they're sent back throughout your body, triggering specific responses and various functions, such as an improvement in balance, reduction in pain, giving people more energy, reaction times, stability, energy, recovery times after a hard workout, posture, and just so much more. It's all based on that functionality of the brain and how your brain processes that information and puts it through, sends it back through your body. It's going to work on your body in the areas that need the work the most. In this, some of the research that he did before he actually launched was he did 2 1,000 person studies. One was based on diabetic neuropathy, so they had 1,000 diabetic neuropathy patients, and one was 1,000 plantar fasciitis patients, or patients, I don't like to call them patients, participants. Anyways, out of those 2 studies, they had over 90% relief in pain reduction. And the diabetic neuropathy, a lot of people were feeling back in their pain, or else they're feeling back in their feet, or else the pain in their feet was reduced significantly. They also did a lot of studies with the institute down in California, the Sports Institute, as well as the golf lab down in California. So that's where a lot of the range of motion and the increased energy, more accuracy, a lot of those studies come from that. I do have a copy of most of those studies as well. Another study that they're actually working on right now, which is really exciting, and is they're doing a 1,000 person brain mapping study. And now they are doing that they're conducting that with a Dr. Mark DeBrinket. And he's a chiropractor and specializes in brain core and QEEG brain mapping out of Colorado. And he's just finishing that study. It isn't available yet, but it's going to be hopefully by the end of the year. And what he's found with 1,000 people that he has brain mapped so far, and 100% of the people he has tested, he has seen a change in the functionality of their brain. So that's pretty exciting stuff. It's actually gotten a lot of other doctors and professionals on board. Dr. Robert Thatcher, he's actually a a neuroscientist, and he's world renowned in QEEG brain mapping and brain core studies as well. He has actually won 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards in neuroscience. And the studies that he's done, he's written over 200 papers, including 8 books. He's actually doing a white paper for Voxxlife right now to be published in a journal. We're hoping in the next few weeks as well. So he partnered up with this Dr. Mark DeBrinket. So there's a lot of science behind it. These products really, really do work. It's pretty amazing what they're doing for people. I'm just going to kind of check my notes here. I don't want to miss anything. So they truly are unique products. And what I love about them is they are drug-free. They're non-invasive, non-electrical, immediate, non-reactionary, age-safe, pregnancy-safe, affordable, and they have 0 side effects. And that's what I love about them. A lot of, most stuff for pain relief and stuff is all ingestible. People have to take painkillers, or a lot of people take vitamins and supplements, and you always have to worry about what kind of a reaction they might have with some other kind of medications they're on. This is just simply putting on a pair of socks. You don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to worry if you've got, we've had questions of people, for example, who have a pacemaker, or people who have epilepsy, and stuff like that. Are they going to react? No, they're not, because there's no electrical devices in them. There's no kind of copper or anything like that. It's just that very, very specific pattern. So I'm just going to go right now. What I'll do next is I'll just show you a few of the different products that I know Shauna has on display there. I'm just going to go through all the different styles of socks and what they are. This is our no-show. So this is just a little short sock. This one just goes up just below the ankle. And that one, again, has this very specific pattern. So this pattern has to rest on the ball of your foot on all of the products that are there in order to get the effects of it. So that's where they do come from extra small to extra large, and that's where the fit is really important too. There is, on the little packaging, it'll tell you how to properly fit according to your shoe size. So that's important to have that resting on the ball of your foot. So again, this is the no-show. The next one up that I think she has on display there too is the Mini Crew. And again, the only difference between this one and the little no-show is about 1.5 inches higher. It just goes a little bit above the ankle. And what I like about this one is it's got a little bit more support here in the ankle too. It's got a lot of a hinge support, they like to call it, right here. And it has a real hugging effect on your feet, and I really, really like that. I've had a lot of people say, even with the little arch support that's in here too, that all of our athletic line has, it's almost like it's hugging your feet. So people feel really, really good when they're wearing them too. Just another effect that it has on people. Again, the next one is the Crew sock. So this is just another one that goes about halfway up your ankle. And again, they all have that same technology in them. It's really just a personal preference on what kind of socks that you like to wear, right? Most people working out will go with the Mini Crew no-show. Lots of people, if they're in a work boot or they're going out with a higher boot, they want it a little higher up their leg. So again, it's just honestly a personal preference. They're all going to do the same thing. Then we've got also the knee high. So this is our knee high, and it's a non-medical knee high, or it has a gradual compression of about 15 to 18. I find when I'm doing my workouts, mostly I like to wear the knee highs because I do like that extra compression in the calf area too. A lot of people with varicose veins or people who do a lot of traveling, they do like these on the planes and stuff to keep the swelling down. Having said that, honestly, for people who, if you're looking at swelling, people who've been wearing the no-shows too have said it's actually helped with their swelling just because of the activation on the bottom of the feet, right? So again, it really is just a personal preference. The other line I'm going to go to is our wellness line. And this is our little floral summer pattern. I don't know if they have those available online anymore, but they come in all sorts of different colors and styles and solid colors as well. But they're all part of the wellness line. And this line was designed with diabetics in mind because of the diabetic neuropathy. A lot of times they have to wear special diabetic socks because of the sensitivities in their feet. So this one was specifically designed for them. So it's non-binding. It doesn't have that extra tight arch support in the arch here. It does have a double, it's double padded in the heel and the toe, so it's stitched very, very well. And it also is seamless too. So having said that, you don't have to be a diabetic to wear them. A lot of people wear them as a dress sock because they come in a lot of different colors and styles, and they're just really, really comfortable. I find in the winter I wear these a little more just because they're a little warmer too than the other one. They are 70% cotton, whereas the other ones are all synthetic materials. So again, if you're looking at, if you're curious about what they're made of, just look at the tag on them. It'll tell you exactly what what the products are made of. So there's that one. And then I've got this Voxx tread, which is also a wellness sock. But what's nice about this one is it has the little treads on it so that people, if they're on floors and stuff, especially a lot of elderly, already it's going to be helping with their balance and stuff. But with slippery floors, they have to wear slippers and stuff. Well, it's got the tread on it already, so you don't have to wear slippers and you don't have to worry about slipping when you're on those hard floors, especially in homes and stuff like that. A lot of times they have those floors that are just, they have to be really careful when they're walking on them. And then another line that we have, this is a new one that came out. This is our work boot sock. So this actually has some wool in it. And again, this was geared, with the cold winter months coming and whatnot. People wanted a sock that was a lot warmer and that could be worn outdoors more for hunting, for people who are working, out in the cold, and just another, even around the house, a lot of people, my husband really likes this sock because it has 22.5% wool in it and it's just nice and warm. Again, they all have the same proprietary pattern on here. So, which cannot be duplicated or anything. It's very, very specific. So those are a few of the different socks. They do come in different colors and sizes and styles too. I'm just going to go into a little bit about the two different styles of insoles. I think Shauna has one sample of each of those there too. Again, we've got the thicker insole, which is the same as the one she has there. This one is blue. This one is orange. The one she has is blue. And then there's also a red one. The only difference between those three different insoles is the density of the foam. They're all the same thickness, but the density is a little different in each one, a different grade of density. The blue one is considered the cushiest. So if people who are on their feet all day, 12 hours a day, I find a lot of nurses and construction workers and whatnot are wearing that one because they like that extra cushiony effect on it. The classic, which is the orange one here, is the middle everyday insole for people who just want a good insole in their shoe and they just to go out walking and whatnot, they'll use this one. And then the rush insole, which is the red one, the density of the foam is the most firm in that one, and that's the one that people are using for athletics and stuff like that. They like to have that extra firmness in theirs because I find, I'm not a professional athlete or competitive athlete in any way, but I guess even just that little bit of extra push that they have on their when they're on their takeoff times and stuff, that fraction of a second makes a difference, and that softness can affect that time for them. So that's why they go with the rush one. So those are pretty much all, of the products. Oh, except, sorry, I did want to talk a little bit about this neuro patch that just came out too. It's a Harmony neuro patch. This is a brand new product that came out, and it's actually worn on the on your dominant arm inside your forearm, and it's only good for 24 hours, but it does the exact same thing as what our socks and insoles do. So it provides, again, pain relief, improvement in balance, more energy and whatnot. And it doesn't look, it is a different pattern than what's on the bottom of the feet, of course, because you're working with different nerves and stuff in your arm, different mechanoreceptors, but it does the same thing. It's great for people who, for example, they can't wear socks. I get that from a lot of people saying, well, my feet, a lot of diabetics, I can't wear socks and my feet are just too sensitive. I cannot put them on. People with MS as well, they have a lot of sensitivities in their feet. So a lot of people are going to the patch and they're putting the patch on and they're getting the same benefits, right? So, the only downfall of the patch is it's only good for 24 hours. So you do have to, keep replenishing it. Whereas with the socks or insoles, the longevity of them is much, much, much longer. We've had people for a year still wearing, if you take care of them properly, you're still going to get that wearability out of them, right? So, there is that longevity issue for sure, but it's just another method that they felt was important to bring out because a lot of people were looking for alternatives to wearing socks or insoles. Any questions so far?
Are they washable?
Oh yeah, all the washing instructions are on the tag too. It does say on the tag to wash them inside out by hand, but in all honesty, I throw them in the machine all the time and I don't put them inside out. I don't know, I find because I have a pet at home, I have a dog, I was washing them inside out, but I wasn't taking that dog hair off because it was on the other side of the socks. So, but it's not going to damage them in any way. The big thing for me personally, after I've been doing this for a year and a half, is just don't put them in the dryer, because the dryer is going to reduce the longevity of them too. And it's not going to, sometimes they do shrink. Some people, it has shrunk on them when they put them in the dryer if it's on really high heat. So you don't, you are, it's an investment in your future and your health. You want to take care of them properly, right? And if you take care of them properly, they'll keep working. The only time the technology will stop working is if there's a hole in it. So if, in that little pattern that I showed you, if ever get a hole in that, then they're not going to work anymore. But as long as this is still intact, you're still going to get the benefits of a little bit higher up above the sock, right? So now I'm just going to go touch into a few of the people that I have personally helped with the socks. And I'm just going to go a little bit of a story. Actually, you know what? I'm going to step back a little bit and talk about how I actually got involved with this company. I have never done any kind of direct sales or anything like that. It's never been my thing, so to speak. So this is really new for me, and learning the whole learning curve of the business and stuff. But my husband and I both actually retired early in life. We're both in our early 50s, and we did some traveling, and a lot of people were saying to me, "Oh, Janet, you're too young to retire. You got to find something to do, blah, blah." I said, "You know what, when the right thing comes along, I'll know it," right? And that's just what I told people. And then one day I was on Facebook, and a friend of mine who I knew suffered really bad arthritis in her feet and knees, she puts this post about these socks. She goes, "Oh, these socks are amazing." And it was just like, what? It kind of piqued my curiosity. What's so great about these socks? So I reached out to her, and she said, "Yeah, Janet," she said, "there's some kind of a pattern on them." But she says, "The pain I suffered in my feet and my knees," she said, "when I wear these socks, I have no pain." And I was just like, "Really?" And she says, "Yeah." So I was like, okay. So I'm thinking, I have a few people in my life, after researching it, that I thought that they could probably help. My mom has vertigo. I shouldn't say she had a bout of vertigo about 5 years ago now. She's 81 years old, and it really was debilitating for her. She did kind of get over the worst effects of it, but her balance has been really affected since then. My husband hurt his back in his 20s. A work injury, and it's never been quite the same either. His back would always give out on him. He'd be laid up for 3 or 4 days every time it did. And it didn't take anything. It was just one wrong movement and boom, he was down. It was like, oh, here, that really sucks. It's not good, right? So anyway, they were kind of my two guinea pigs. And for myself, I had rolled my ankle about 5-6 years ago getting out of the truck. And ever since then too, it hasn't been the same. It really weakened it. And I could be walking and it would just give out on me. I'd be like, oh, my husband would be like, "What's wrong with you?" And I says, "Oh, my ankle just went out again." So, those are, I wanted to use these as my tests to see how they would work for me and for my loved ones too. So I sent a pair to my mom. I said, "Mom, wear these socks. They're supposed to really help with balance." And then I made my husband wear his, and then I wore mine. Well, my husband, it took about 2 to 3 weeks for him before he started noticing a difference in his pain level, because it can take, some people, it can be very gradual. It has the consistent wear. Just make sure you're wearing it all the time, all the time, all the time. And for myself, my ankle, I've been wearing them for a year and a half now, and it's made such a huge improvement in my ankle that it's unreal. Like, I do every once in a while get a little bit of a throbbing pain, but it never gives out on me anymore. And the same with my husband's back. He has had a lot of improvement in his pain, but the big noticeable difference is that in the year and a half, it's almost 2 years now that he's been wearing them, his back hasn't went out once. The only time it went out on him, which I got really upset at him about, was we were in, our daughter was graduating from university, summertime, really, really hot. And again, he didn't want to wear socks. We didn't have the patch at the time. And I kept telling him, "Wear your socks, wear your socks, wear your socks." "I'm not wearing my socks. It's too hot. It's too hot." Right? So what happened, honestly, day 3 after not wearing them, 2 days before my daughter's graduation, his back went out on him. I was just like, oh, I was so mad at him. But anyway, he put the socks on after that, and his recovery time was actually quite a bit quicker. He was able to go to the grad and stuff and be able to sit, because, sitting in a chair and stuff for any length of time, when he was in that condition, was a real chore for him too. So, I mean, his recovery time was quicker, but that's the only time in the year and a half that he's been wearing that his back has went out. And this used to be quite a common occurrence, like a few times a year with him. So it has been a big change for him. And with my mom, with her vertigo, with her balance issues, it's been a game changer too. She can go, up and down stairs now without hanging onto rails. It's just the little things in life like that as you get older, you kind of, when you lose that ability, you take that for granted throughout your life. And then all of a sudden, boom, you can't do it anymore. And it can be a game changer for many people, right? For their quality of life. So those are my personal stories. So that at that time I thought, you know what, there's something to this. It's a new company and there's so many people that I could think of and just so many people that need to be aware of this product and what it can do for them. And it's just all simply by wearing our products, right? And wearing the Neurotech products. So, and then I'm just again going to go through a list of a few other people throughout my journey in the last year and a half of selling these. I mean, I sold them to a nurse again who suffers a lot of arthritic pain in her knees and her feet. She says she can go through a day now without any pain. This was besides my other friend, another woman who was in a car accident and suffered a real bad brain injury. She actually had huge balance issues. She was also a nurse, and then she had a lot of knee pain from her car accident. She'd been suffering for years. She, after 24 hours, called me up and could not believe the difference. Like she was blown away. It was just incredible. She had a lot of shingles outbreaks too, and she says since she's been wearing them, she says she could always tell when the shingle outbreak was going to happen since she's been wearing them. She hasn't had an outbreak. I've had a few personal clients too with diabetic neuropathy who have come back to me and sworn they've been the best socks they've ever worn. You know, they suffered for years and years, one for 20 years with diabetic nerve pain. And he says now he's had about a 70% reduction in pain finally after all these years. I had a runner, somebody who was an athlete again, who did a lot of running, and he ended up with a plantar's wart in the bottom of his foot that he had to have removed. And ever since he had that removed, he couldn't run anymore because he always had pain in his foot whenever he ran. So of course he asked me, will these help? I says, all you can do is try, right? Says it is a 30-day money back guarantee. Give him a try. And he was a real skeptic. He was one that I was, he couldn't believe that these socks could really do what they could do. But he did buy a pair, and he got a hold of me a week later and came back and bought more because he said, you know what, I went running 3 times last week, he says, and every single time I ran, I had no foot pain. He said he couldn't believe it. That was the first time in over 2 years since he had the surgery. Boom, just like that, no pain. So there was also a gentleman on back pain for disability with back pain with my husband, another guy who's a trucker who he says his back pain has diminished significantly. Another gentleman who fell off a ladder. He fell off a ladder about 20 years ago and broke his heels. I had never heard of that condition before, but I guess when you land on your feet, it damages the nerves so bad, and they call it broken heels, right? So he had been suffering for over 20 years. He had tried everything. He said this is the first time in 20 years he doesn't have that pain in his feet anymore. He can go for walks again. Another woman who had arthritis in her feet so bad she could hardly walk, and she was able to go for walks. She called me 3 days later and she says, can these things give you more energy too? And she's 81 years old, a sweet, 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 sweet lady. She says, Janet, I can't believe it. I went out for a walk this morning. I walked twice as far as I went before. I came home and I did gardening, and I just feel so much better. And I have so many stories like that. I could go on and on and on, but I don't, I only have a half an hour, unfortunately. So those are just some of the areas that they're helping people. They're helping a lot of people, people who suffer from MS. I mean, I know Jay's mom, has MS, but a lot of MS suffers with their balance and drop foot. I've, personally sold to quite a few people with MS, and it's been a real game changer in their quality of life too. And, anybody with a neurological disorder, Parkinson's disease, cerebral palsy, are a few other areas where people are finding benefits, right? I mean, I'm not saying they're going to diagnose, cure, or treat anything, but it's just giving people relief of symptoms of some of the conditions that they suffer from, right? And it's worth giving a try because there's nothing there. You can't have any side effects from wearing a pair of socks. You really can't. So one thing worth noting though is very, very, very important with them is you have to wear them all the time, right? It is wearable neurotechnology, kind of like a pair of glasses. If you want to look at it that way, a pair of glasses is wearable neurotechnology, right? You can only see if you wear them, if you put them on. You need to wear glasses because your eyes are diminishing. You're getting older. You put your glasses on, boom, you can see better. You take them off, you can't see as good, right? So it's kind of the same mentality behind these products. You have to wear them all the time. It's really, really important to keep that activation because it's not fixing anything in your body. Like it's not curing anything. It's optimizing your neurological system is what it's doing, right? So it's very important to keep them on all the time. I try to encourage people to wear them to bed too, because a lot of people are finding that they're sleeping better at night wearing them. I've had a lot of personal testimonials from people about restless leg syndrome at night. Their legs jump around so much, it's calmed down their nerves that they're not getting that anymore at night. Some people with cramping, they get really bad cramps in their calves or their legs at night, are finding relief from them too. So these are just different areas that people are coming forward and saying, hey, I've noticed this change in my body. I've noticed this. We have a great, if you're on Facebook at all, if anybody's on Facebook, I really, really encourage you. We have a Voxxlife testimonials group. It's a closed group, but we've got over 45,000 members in there now. And they're all telling their personal stories. Some of them are videos and whatnot, but you can do a search in there, and you can search any, search knee pain, back pain, hip pain, search arthritis, search MS, search, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, just any kind of a condition that you're wondering, like restless leg syndrome, and just do a search in there, and people are telling their personal stories about how these products are helping them. So it's pretty incredible, some of the stories that are out there. Other than that, also YouTube, there's a lot of great stories on YouTube. They, go into YouTube, just type in Voxxlife, and you're going to find people are putting their personal stories out there too. We've got a lot of professional athletes. If you go on the Voxxlife website, under Voxxlife testimonials, there's a specific tab there. There's actually Luke Robitaille of the LA Kings. He's the president of the LA Kings, the hockey team. He's wearing them, and he's done actually a non-endorsed video for Voxxlife because of how much he believes in the product. He's got all the LA Kings wearing them now. We've got the University of Southern California, which is a very well-renowned athletic university in the States there, and he's equipping every single one of his athletes with them. They've been doing some brain mapping with some of the athletes there too, showing them the results and letting them know how it will help them with their athletic performance as well. So that's just another area that they're branching out on. There's so much more to come with this company. It's pretty exciting. It is new, it's different, technology is different. But it's taking the healthcare industry by storm. Actually, Dr. Robert Thatcher was quoted as saying it's a century ahead of its time in neurotechnologies, and that's a big thing coming from well-renowned neuroscientists, with a PhD. So there is a lot of science behind it, but it has been validated and has been proven to work. So on that, I can talk a little bit about the pricing. Great products for Christmas. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I'm going to interrupt you just 1 second, okay?
Yeah.
Because we have a personal testimony here, too, and I was just wondering, do you know Don Atkins, or Don and Bonnie Atkins?
I know of them.
Oh, okay, but you don't know them personally.
No.
Well, because Don is who I had demo these for me. Before I committed to selling them in the fitness center, I wanted to know if it was hooey, I thought an insole or a sock can't help you walk better. They got to be full of it. So I had Don take care and demo them for 5 to 7 days for me. And they made such an improvement. He bought the insoles, he bought the socks, and he no longer has to use his walker or his walking stick unless he goes out into the woods. And this is a fellow that's been 20 years with a walker.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
we
have a
personal.
I saw that on there, Shauna. That was incredible. But yeah, we have a lot of stories like that. If you go into, like I said, the YouTube, you'll be surprised at how many people, a lot of people have been able to put their walkers away. And it's just, it's mind boggling. Like I said, I could probably spend hours telling you great stories.
I was telling her that I wobble back and forth when I'm walking. I mean, not really that people would really notice, but I've noticed it for the last probably 3 years.
Do you have the socks?
No.
Oh.
But I'm going to try the
Insoles.
inserts first and see if that works.
I was going to ask, these nurses that you've been talking about, did they just get better wearing the socks, or did they have the insoles too?
There were actually both the nurses that I personally sold to that it helped with, they were wearing the socks. But the insoles do the same thing. Again, it's a personal preference, right? I've had people who just wear insoles. The one gentleman with diabetic neuropathy, he was in insoles. He had a 70% reduction in his diabetic neuropathy pain, and that started out with insoles. He eventually did buy some socks so that he could have the technology on his feet all the time, and that's the advantage with the socks as opposed to the insoles. You can put socks on first thing in the morning, or you can sleep with them as well. Whereas the insoles, they're great, if you're in a pair of shoes, the same pair of shoes, or you only want the benefit, when you're exercising, you don't, then, or for workers who are in the same pair of boots all day or something like that, insoles are great, and then they can pop a pair of socks on at home. At least they can still wear their regular socks. So, there's a benefit to either having both products, really, right? And because it is really, really important to always have that technology on the bottom of your feet, right? If you're popping.
Said that he did some reading, and it also says that when you wear the socks and the insoles together, you're getting like double the benefit.
Well, some people have said that they've noticed a difference, but in all honesty, when, that question has been raised with Jay Dollywall, the founder himself, and he says They both have the same technology. You're not really getting a double benefit. I think what maybe some people are experiencing is because of the cushioning in the insole. They're kind of getting benefit from that plus the technology. But there are a lot of people who swear that they're getting more benefit by wearing both. So
Don did.
I can't, I don't want to diss what they're saying, because on more than one occasion in the testimonials group, people have said that. But on the other hand, when you're looking at the technology and how it works, it's, it shouldn't matter, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know, I was going to talk a little bit just about the pricing, because right now the prices are between $30 and $50. We just found out this week actually in a meeting that some of the products there is going to be new pricing in the new year. So a difference in $5 for some of the products. Some of the products are going to be staying, some of the newer products are going to be staying at the same price, but most of those products that I sent to you, Shauna, are all going to be going up $5 in the new year. So that might be something for people to think about if they're thinking about getting for Christmas gifts or whatnot. They're before December 31st, and it's going to be, they're going to save $5.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And have you been doing a lot of balance tests on people yet, Shauna? Or
I don't need to do the test. So they know if they have a balance issue, and I've been answering a lot of questions at this point, and that's why I think this video is going to help anybody on the fence and wondering, so that they can be pushed over the edge into trying. And I do let everybody know that there's a money back guarantee, so if they don't work for them, they aren't obligated to keep them or whatnot. As far as demos, no, I haven't put anybody in the insoles and then I've seen the video though, where the fellow's in there and they push on the hand and he's tippy, but with the insoles, he's not. So far, everybody that's wanted to try them is happy with just with trying them and purchasing them and whatnot that way, without me having to actually do the demo on them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. The demo, a lot of times, it can be a real game changer for a lot of people. It gives them kind of that wow effect too. Like they're like, wow. I mean, I've had that happen all the time. Like, wow, I can't believe what a difference it's made. Right. So it is a good tool to have, but you have to feel comfortable doing it too. So, and they have to be comfortable being tested as well.
Yeah.
But again, a good resource for anybody, and I really, really like to stress this, is go to that Voxxlife testimonials group. I know a lot of people aren't on Facebook, but if they are, Google a Voxxlife testimonials group, because these are real people. These are genuine people who are they want to share their story. And we ask people, do you mind putting, when you get a good response, would you mind, posting it on there? And there are some people, it's an honest group. Some people have said they haven't noticed any difference, but for whatever reason, their neurological system is taking that response and it's affecting them differently than others, right? And they do affect everybody differently. It all depends on what your body needs the most work on, right? So two people who suffer with MS might have different effects, different results from wearing the products, right? You just don't know, because everybody's neurology is different. But with the brain mapping studies they've done to date so far, Dr. Brinkett has been quoted as saying, we haven't seen the results yet, that in 100% of the cases, he has seen a change in the functionality of the brain. So every single person in one way or form or another is getting some kind of a benefit from them. So that's to date. So, I mean, once we get that study in hand, it'll be nice to be able to share that with people. But we're pretty excited to get that on board.
With the money back guarantee, you've got no risk anyway, really.
Exactly. And they're really good with honoring that too, with online orders. I think for me personally, they come back to me when I sell them and I give them their money back. I cut through the technology is all they're asking. So I think that's what they're doing with people with online orders too, is just they'll send an email. They'll want you just to cut through the technology to show that you're, discarding the sock or whatever. Because they don't want people saying, I'll give them their money back, and then they're keeping the socks, and then they reimburse you your money. So it's not, I don't think that they're not asking you to send the socks back to the company or anything like that. So that's kind of nice too. So they're trying to make it as seamless and as easy as possible, right? And you know what, they're in one of the meetings we had, their return rate is less than 1%. That's how happy people are. And they've got the technology in over 3 million people so far. Their mission is to get it on 1 billion people. They have proprietorship in just Canada and the US right now. It's really, really new in the US. Big opportunity there for, people who are looking into a new business venture or something too. There's a lot of opportunity to be had there still, because they have proprietorship for 154 countries. It's just Canada and the US that they have distributorship in right now. So that's another thing to think about for anybody who might be interested. Yeah. Any questions?
How many socks do you keep on hand? How many pairs? If you're supposed to wear them all the time, you must have at least 2.
Yeah, our recommendation that we actually tell people is to go with 1 pair of insoles and two pairs of socks. That's what, and most of our healthcare practitioners who are jumping on board, which is quite a few of them, that's what they're recommending to their patients too. That way you've always got a pair on your feet, a pair in the laundry, and then you've always got a pair in your, regular shoes or boots. So you always have the technology on your feet. So that's the best thing to start out with, is 2 pairs of socks and 1 pair of insoles. Another thing worth noting is they've actually been tested for their anti-wicking properties. So you can wear the socks for 3 days before you need to wash them. So I usually go 2 or 3 days. I mean, of course, I've been selling for a while, so I have about 7 pairs that I, cycle in and out. But for the most part, I wear them for usually 3 days before I wash them. And I've done the personal test. I put them up to my nose and I smelt them and they don't stink. So, you do that with yourself. But yeah, so you can go 3 days before washing them. So that's why, 2 pairs works out, because when 1 pair is being washed, you've got the other pair to wear or to wear while the others are drying. And then on days, if you, even for little slip-on shoes or something, or types of shoes you don't want to wear socks, you've got a pair of insoles to pop in your shoes as well. So that's the recommendation that we are going with most people. So, but at the very, very minimum, if they don't want to invest that much, go for at least with 2 pairs of socks, because of the importance, again, of, stressing that importance of wearing the technology all the time. And some people, especially with the pain relief, the balance, most people can notice it right away. Pain relief, some people notice it right away. I've had a couple of people who literally came up to me after buying the socks, who were experiencing such pain within hours, and came up to me with tears in their eyes, giving me a hug, because they've had that instant of a relief. And then I've had other people, like my husband, where it took a few weeks before he's noticed a significant change. So again, everybody's neurology is different. And that's why where the 30-day money-back guarantee comes into effect too. We want people to wear them for at least 30 days before they've made up their mind whether they're doing anything or not, right? We don't want them to come back after 2 days and say, oh, I still got all this pain in my hip, or I still got, all this pain in my feet. Well, it's only been 2 days. You have to give it time to do its work too, right? Yeah.
Now, being a caregiver, I have experienced times when people would keep their socks on all the time, and they would end up with infections in their feet, in the bottoms of their feet, because their feet have not been allowed to air out.
Right.
Especially at night.
Mm-hmm.
But you say wearing it 24 hours a day?
Well, we recommend it if they can't. Honestly, I don't wear them to bed, just because for me, my feet get way too hot. And you know what? I would say probably 20 to 30% of the people are low. About 20 to 30% of the people are the people who actually wear them to bed at night. And I only encourage that if they have something at night that's really bothering them, like restless leg, or they're getting cramping at night, or they just have really restless sleep. They don't sleep. So then I'll say, try wearing them to bed at night, because it's going to, the calming effect it has on people, right? So it's not, some people do recommend them wear them 24/7. For the most part, I say at least wear them during the day until you go to bed, right? If you can't wear them to bed at night, that's fine. It's been clinically proven that 70% of your body's healing happens when you're sleeping. That's what Dr. DeBrincat has said. So, there is some benefits to wearing them at night, because it is, working on your neurology as well when you're sleeping. So that's why a lot of people are getting a better sleep too. But it really is a personal preference. People have to just wear them, as long as they're comfortable wearing them. Some people do get adverse effects initially when they start wearing them. They might feel a little bit of discomfort or more pain initially, and it's because your body is readjusting. Some people's posture is actually changing. I've personally seen a few, some customers who have come over to my booth when I'm selling, bent over, hunched over, because their posture is so bad, because they're in a lot of pain. And then I reconnect with them a few weeks later, and I have seen them walking completely straight up. And I've seen that happen many, many, many times, because of the change in the posture. They're experiencing less pain. All of a sudden, it's very gradual. They don't see it. But during that transition, because when you're doing that, you're using different muscles in your body too, right? So sometimes they're experiencing different pains that they never had before. So then they'll call me and say, how come I'm feeling more pain? I says, because your body is adjusting. I says, if you can work through that, keep wearing them. Try to work through it. Some people say they can't, you know, everybody's pain threshold is different. So then I'll recommend they just take them off and gradually introduce them. Maybe wear them, you know, for 2 hours, take them off for a half hour, wear them for 2 hours, or whatever works for them, right? It's a trial and error period for everybody for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Any other questions?
do I order from you or from Shauna?
Shauna has, my website is workingforabetteryou.com. So she does have access to that. She said she will help anybody who wants to order. If you have any questions at all, she has my email. I'm on Messenger a lot too. You can message me, email me. I know I'm in Canada, but I can call you, you know, if you can't, you know, don't have an international plan or whatever, I can call you directly too to help you out with that, to get that order in first. But yeah, just go through her. She's kind of there to manage all the ins and outs of ordering and stuff like that. Any questions at all about, you know, what product, you know, you think would be best? I'm finding like with the wellness line is really, really, really popular with a lot of the older community. I mean, they don't want athletic sock. You can feel the difference in the materials and stuff and the samples that are there, right? So
yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing.
All right. Thank you.
We'll see you later.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in.